In this video, we're going to take a look at how to bring in Ontario Ministry curriculum expectations into your Brightspace shell. We're going to be doing that through the content tool, but it's important to note, which we'll cover in another video, that this unlocks a lot of other features, such as being able to track and assess curriculum expectations in assignments, discussions, quizzes. So there's lots of things that this first step is going to unlock for you. And I believe that it also really helps to actualize some of the goals set out in the Growing Success document. So to begin, what you're going to do in order to bring those content expectations into your shell is you're actually going to go to Content. And if you've ever wondered what this percentage and tally bar is, that's actually where we're going to be bringing in the expectations. So I've sort of set up a shell where I have just a few things in my Unit 1. To bring the actual expectations in, we're going to click on the Expectations button. And it's going to say, hey, there isn't any expectations in this shell yet. So what we're going to do is go over to Add or Remove Expectations. Click there. And you can add your own. So this is certainly, if you want to make the expectations more student-friendly, you could certainly look at those on your own and add your own. And you would just click there and you would basically just type them out. So if I were to do test, this is an expectation, very creative. That now is an expectation I can attach to content and actually in assignments and things like that and assess this. So some teachers, what they like to do is actually take the curriculum expectations, the overall ones, and sort of turn them into a little bit more student-friendly language. So that's possible. Now I'm going to show you though how to bring in the actual ones that are preloaded already into D2L's Brightspace. So if we go to Import from Achievement Standard to Network, this is where you sort of have to do a little bit of sorting because it's pulling from D2L's entire network. So we're going to go down to Ontario. In this case, I'm going to pick English. Kind of asks, well, which framework are we looking at? In this case, this is a grade 10 class, so I'm going to go here. And it's a grade 10 class. And it's going to show you the academic applied different streams. Now, I'll stop here to really note that you can bring in literally every expectation. So if you wanted to do that, you would just click here and this will bring in all the overall expectations as well as the specific expectations. I don't advise doing that, as at that point it's just an overwhelming number of expectations to try to map out to different content or connect to things. I think it's a really good pedagogical decision to actually only bring in the overall expectations. So in order to do that, you just press this arrow just right here. And what you'll see is it actually lists everything within the oral communication piece. So I'm going to go down actually to writing. And again, for the first overall expectation, I'm going to click there. And then it lists all of the specific expectations that fit under this overall expectation. And we know that just by the numbers, that it's 2D1. So if we scroll down, what we're looking for is for it to mention the next overall expectation. Unfortunately, there's no quicker way to do this or filter by overall expectations. You have to sort of go through this, but you would do this really just at the beginning of the course, and you wouldn't have to do it again. So there's my next overall expectation. I believe there might be one more as well. There it is right there, and I believe that's it. So there's my 3 overall expectations that are part of the writing strand in the grade 10 curriculum. I'm just going to do that one, but again, you would probably you'd then open the media studies strand and add that overall expectation. So it's you're probably looking at 10 minutes to bring all these overalls in, but once they're in for good. I'm going to import selected, and there we go. There's my writing strand, and there are my 3 overall expectations as part of it. So at that point, I've actually brought them in. So if I go back to content, what I can do now is I can actually do some curriculum mapping with the content that I've brought in. So if you're bringing a lot of your content from your class as a blended learning environment into your shell, you could actually connect all your expectations this way. Or if you're teaching an e-learning class and all of your content, it becomes even more valuable because you really can do some full curriculum mapping. So in order to do that, let's say I'm doing Unit 1 and my introduction actually covers Let's assume in this hypothetical situation, it's actually covering an overall expectation. What I would do is click on click on it. I know it's clicked on because it's covered in blue. I go over to the 3 action dots here, click. And because we've brought in expectations, this now appears. If I had not first brought in those expectations, this doesn't even show up on the list. So I'm going to go to view expectations. It tells me right off the bat, hey, you actually don't have any that you've added to this yet. So what we're going to do is go to edit, and there are the 3 that we brought in. So let's assume that this particular assignment or lesson covers this expectation. I just press the check mark, press save, and it has now been added. The other nice thing is that this expectation percentage meter is now actually active. So if you've ever wondered sort of what that is. And what it's doing is it really just counts all of the expectations that you brought into your course. How many of them have you hit at least once? So in this case, we only have 3 brought into the course. So it's saying, hey, you've already hit 33% of your overall expectations. But if obviously we brought in the 12 or 14 that are in most courses, this would be a lower number, but that's a great way to sort of map out your curriculum and see where are you hitting expectations and maybe where are some of your gaps that you're not cycling back to or not hitting at all. Because that's, in our planning, that can be easy to do. So that helps bring in your expectations. And in a future video, I will also cover, now that we've brought those in, how can we actually assess those expectations in some of the assessment tools within Brightspace.